Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about an operating system that you use every single day. And the funny thing is, you probably don't even realize it. It's a fantastic story about frustration, about collaboration, and about one student's hobby that, well, accidentally took over the world.
All right, let's start with a little puzzle. You've got a SpaceX rocket, the helicopter flying around on Mars, and the Android phone right there in your hand. They seem like they're from completely different worlds, right? But they all share a secret, a kind of common digital heartbeat. Any ideas what it could be?
You guessed it, the answer is Linux. And this is where you start to see just how huge its influence is. I mean, we're talking about the engine behind Android, the only choice for every single one of the world's fastest supercomputers, the brain inside your smart TV, and yeah, it's even trusted to run the International Space Station. It really is the invisible giant holding up our modern digital world.
But here's the kicker. This massive tech empire wasn't cooked up in some fancy corporate boardroom. It all started in a dorm room, with just one student who was trying to fix something that bugged him. This is the story of a truly accidental revolutionary. So to get why Linux was even a thing, you have to picture the early 90s. You had these super powerful systems like Unix, but they were crazy expensive and locked down. So in response, a guy named Richard Stallman started the GNU project to build a totally free alternative. At the same time, there was this other system called Minix for students, but it had a lot of restrictions. No one had quite cracked the code for a perfect solution.
And here's what's so wild. The world was incredibly close. You see, the GNU project on the left, they had built all the parts of a car, the chassis, the wheels, the steering, but they were missing the engine, the core piece we call the kernel. And then you had Minix on the right. It had a working engine, a kernel, but its license was so restrictive you couldn't really modify it or use it for anything serious. The world literally had two halves of a free operating system, but no one had figured out how to put them together.
And this is where a 21-year-old student from Helsinki, Linus Torvalds, enters the story. He was using Minix for school, and he just got totally fed up with its limitations. So, in a move that's now legendary, he basically said, "Fine, I'll do it myself," and started writing his own kernel from scratch, just for fun. This is the actual announcement he posted online. You have to love the humility here. He says it's just a hobby, won't be big and professional like GNU. I mean, that has to be one of the greatest understatements in the history of technology, because what happened next was nothing short of a collaborative explosion.
So, how in the world did a little hobby project turn into a global phenomenon? Well, it wasn't just about the code. It was about two powerful ideas coming together at the exact right time.
So the first piece of the puzzle was purely technical. Linus had built the engine, the Linux kernel, that everyone was missing. And the community quickly had this aha moment where they realized they could take this brand new engine and drop it right into the car body that the GNU project had already built. Suddenly, they had a complete and completely free operating system.
But the thing that really poured gasoline on this fire wasn't code, it was a legal decision. Linus originally released his kernel with a license that didn't allow commercial use, but he was eventually persuaded to switch it to the GNU General Public License, the GPL, and that one move changed everything.
The GPL is just a brilliant idea. It's often called a copyleft license. Basically, it means anyone can use, study, and change the code, but there's one golden rule. If you make changes and share them, your new version also has to be free and open. This created this incredible cycle. No company could just swoop in, take the code, and lock it down. It guaranteed that Linux would belong to the community, forever.
This new way of working together led to a whole new idea, the Linux distribution. Because all the core pieces were free, people could start packaging them in different ways for all kinds of different users.
So what exactly is a distro? Think of it like this. The Linux kernel is the engine. A distribution is the entire car, ready to drive off the lot. It takes that kernel, adds the GNU tools, a graphical interface, and all the apps you need, and bundles it all up into a nice, ready-to-use package.
A modern Linux system is kind of built in layers, like a cake. At the very bottom, you've got the physical computer hardware. Sitting on top of that is the Linux kernel, which talks to the hardware. Then you have the GNU tools, sometimes called the userland. And finally, on top is the pretty desktop environment that you actually see and click on.
And because anyone can package these layers however they want, this incredible diversity just bloomed. There are literally thousands of different distros out there. Ubuntu is famous for being easy to use, Arch Linux is for people who love to customize everything, and Red Hat is for big businesses. Even Google's Chrome OS. Yep, at its heart, that's a Linux distribution too.
All right, so now let's look at the hard numbers and really see how the Student Hobby Project went on to build an invisible empire.
Just let that number sink in. Not 99%, 100%. When it comes to the most powerful, most demanding computing on the face of the Earth, Linux isn't just the best choice, it's the only choice. Period.
And what about the internet itself? When you browse a website, there is a staggering 96.4% chance that the server sending you that web page is running on Linux. The web, as we know it, is literally built on top of Linus Torvalds' hobby project.
And then, of course, there's the device that's probably in your pocket. The Android operating system, which completely dominates the global smartphone market, is built directly on top of the Linux kernel. That fact alone makes Linux the most widely installed operating system in the world.
The list just keeps going. The amazing visual effects in your favorite movies? Rendered on Linux farms. That infotainment screen in your car? Yeah, probably Linux. Those rockets that are redefining space travel? You already know the answer. It's the quiet, super reliable workhorse behind almost everything.
And this isn't some relic of the past. It is happening right now. This is a snapshot from the official kernel website. You can see it's a living, breathing project. There are different versions being updated and released constantly, all by a global community of thousands and thousands of developers.
You know, the story of Linux is so much more than just a story about software. It's a powerful lesson in a totally different way of building things. It proves that a decentralized community, all connected by the internet, with a common goal, can build something more robust and more powerful than any single company ever could. And it kind of makes you wonder, what other world-changing hobbies are being started in a dorm room right now?